Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. So today, we're diving into one of the absolute most exciting, but let's be real, kind of intimidating phases of your entire career journey, and that is actually landing your first job. Think of this as your ultimate roadmap for making that massive leap from a dedicated student to a fully fledged working professional. We're going to cover the whole shebang, from beating those automated resume robots to acing your technical interviews, all the way to snagging that highly coveted first remote role. Look, this transition takes strategy, it takes prep, and most importantly, it takes knowing exactly what employers are hunting for. So we're going to break down the specific strategies you need to optimize your entry into the field, pulling straight from our foundational guide.
Okay, let's look at our game plan for today. First up, the certification gateway. Number 2, dropping apprentice status. Third, choosing your work environment. Fourth, getting your foot in the door. And wrapping it up, navigating remote work rules. All right, Section 1, the certification gateway, passing the baseline standard. Before you even stress about where you're going to work, you've got to clear that first major hurdle, which is foundational certification. In today's hyper-strict compliance world, certification isn't a bonus, it is your absolute baseline. When you're putting together your resume, having those big acronyms like CPC, CCA, or CCS front and center is literally how you get past the automated applicant tracking systems, or ATS. But which one should you actually go for? Well, AAPC is typically the much more accommodating route for absolute beginners, mostly because they offer an apprentice-level status, like the CPCA. AHIMA, on the flip side, they don't do apprentice certificates at all. Even for their entry-level stuff, their exams are fundamentally designed for folks who are already pretty proficient and have some real on-the-job experience. So for most new students, that AAPC apprentice route is your golden ticket in.
Section 2, dropping apprentice status, removing the A.
So the crucial point is, once you actually get that certification, how do you shake off that restrictive label? Because really, APC apprentice status is just a temporary tag. It's given to newly certified coders who crushed their rigorous exam, but just don't have that hands-on coding experience yet. To really maximize your job prospects and hit full pro status, you've got to actively work to remove it. You can do this through employer verification or cool educational tools like APC Practicode. Let's actually look at the two main pathways APC gives you to upgrade that credential. Here is Pathway 1, and this route, it's all about grinding it out with pure on-the-job experience. You literally need to log 2 years of coding experience and then submit a formal request along with 2 signed letters proving you've been putting in the time with those coding books. But here's the catch. AAPC won't just take your word for it. At least one of those letters absolutely must be on your employer's official letterhead, no exceptions. The second one can just be from a coworker, but both have to clearly detail your coding background to get past this strict bureaucratic hurdle. Now, what if you don't want to wait 2 full years? That brings us to Pathway 2, which brilliantly illustrates how formal education can be a massive fast track. If you can just show proof of at least 80 hours of coding instruction, we're talking a certificate of completion, a transcript, or even a solid letter from your instructor, you only have to complete 1 single year of actual work experience. You just submit that educational proof right alongside a signed employer verification letter on company letterhead. Boom, you've effectively sliced your required work experience in half.
Moving right along, Section 3, choosing your work environment, where to apply your skills. Okay, now that you've got the credentialing rules down pat, it is time to survey the battlefield of potential employers. When you're deciding where to apply, you really need to grasp how different the day-to-day realities are. Take large hospitals, for example. The volume of work is just massive, which means responsibilities are super segmented. You'd probably be hired into a hyper-specialized entry-level role. Think a dedicated charge entry clerk, claims processor, or a payment poster. On the other hand, small private practices are trying to save on operational costs, right? So they usually need versatile generalists who can quote-unquote wear both hats, meaning you are going to be doing both the medical billing and the medical coding, all by yourself. But wait, our source material actually throws a huge spotlight on a third option: billing companies. Let me just quote this directly for you. Billing companies frequently make use of a wide variety of coding and billing software, and as a result, they provide the best opportunity to gain experience. And it makes sense, right? Because they handle such crazy high volumes and juggle so many different systems, they are literally the ultimate training ground, and you're surrounded by seasoned pros. But heads up, to land a job at one of these places, you are absolutely going to face technical pre-employment assessments during the interview.
We're talking coding proficiency tests, auditing scenario questions, the whole 9 yards, just to prove you can handle their fast-paced environment. Section 4. Getting your foot in. Overcoming the beginner hurdle. Now we've got to address the elephant in the room. Getting hired with zero medical office experience is remarkably tough. A lot of practices are just super hesitant to take a chance on a freshly certified coder who's never set foot in a healthcare setting. But there is a strategic entry hack here. If you can't snag a pure coding job right out of the gate, shift your target to foundational front office roles. Take a job as a medical billing specialist, a health info tech, or even a basic admin role where you're strictly confirming patient benefits. The whole goal is just to get your foot in the door. Because once you're inside the building and you intimately understand the patient workflow, transitioning over to a dedicated coding or billing role becomes so much easier. Finally, Section 5, Navigating Remote Work Rules, the reality of the off-site coder. And this brings us to what is basically the holy grail for a lot of professionals in our field, working from home. But let's burst that easy pajama work bubble right now. So is it actually possible to code at home? Yes, absolutely. Thanks to secure internet transfers, scanners, and computerized faxes, it's totally standard now. But make no mistake, national businesses enforce intensely strict expectations. You're not just kicking back, you are going to be held to really rigorous daily production quotas, plus minimum accuracy thresholds that usually have to stay above 95% just to keep your job. On top of all that, because the company isn't physically looking over your shoulder, the massive burden of HIPAA compliance rests entirely on your shoulders. You are dealing with incredibly sensitive demographic data, social security numbers, dates of birth, detailed clinical histories. What this means in reality is that you have to set up a strictly private area in your home where family members, visitors, and even your pets absolutely cannot see patient info. Employers will regularly run remote HIPAA compliance checks on you. And listen, violating patient confidentiality isn't just something you get fired for. Under HIPAA, you are looking at severe financial penalties and potentially even jail time. It is serious business. So, as we wrap up this roadmap today, just remember how incredibly valuable you are. You are the essential link that literally transforms a doctor's hard work into actual revenue for the practice. Sure, it takes patience to drop that apprentice status, but the demand for accurate, highly ethical coders is only skyrocketing. So the ultimate question isn't just where you are going to land your first job, but how quickly you'll be able to adapt your skills as the entire healthcare landscape continues to evolve around us. Please like, share, and subscribe to Decode Healthcare with Harshal.